Scientific knowledge only matters if you can convince people to put it to use so they can do something about it. Not all of us need to be scientists in order for us to take action for it, but you still need to think like a scientist. So for instance, what causes climate change? How does changing temperature impact the environment? We can't just think of these things, from thin air. We need to base this on some strong foundational knowledge, evidence, data, stuff that you can find to support the ideas that you're trying to share. So for instance, we want to talk about, temperatures have been going up. You could simply state it like, temperatures have been going up. People wouldn't be convinced. But if you said, temperatures have gone up by 1 degree Celsius over the last 160 years, and this is based on the findings on the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. You're able to back that claim up with some facts and some scientific understanding. This is not just finding published by one person, but the collective understanding and the scientific knowledge produced by thousands of scientists. But we must be careful when we talk about climate change to others. We shouldn't be just pushing down facts. Real education isn't just about teaching you to know things. It's also allowing you and empowering you to do things. And more importantly, it allows you to develop that sense of what it means to be a human being on Earth. Imagine you're telling someone about this climate change issue, and the person is then going to read an article on the New York Times about climate change. What we want the person to be able to do is use what you have shared, these kinds of facts and knowledge that you've shared, to then make an informed decision about, hey, this article, is what it's saying correct, accurate? What does this mean for me? So education isn't just about knowing, it's about doing, and more importantly, it's about being. With the climate change issue, and we have talked about it at length in this particular course, it's not just about taking action, right? It's not just about whether we would change up our water bottle drinking habits, but it's about taking action now. Because we need the collective action. We need people to be more conscious about their own behavior. So how do we even begin to share our knowledge of climate change? I think we can frame our understanding of climate change in 3 areas. Well, it's important to first address what are the causes of climate change. You need to convince people that it is something that's happening and that it's got to do with human activity. You need to think about what are the impacts of climate change. Because if you look at the way climate works, it's slow and steady, but it's happening, right? It doesn't happen overnight, but you start seeing these changing patterns. But what do these mean for people? What are the impact on their lives, on the environment, on the society, on the economy? Finally, we need to offer ways forward, solutions, ways to manage the climate change issue. Not just being able to talk about the Kyoto Protocol, which for most people that's like, okay, I read about that in the news. But what can you do as an individual? What we're talking about in terms of climate change isn't just to make our lives better today. I think we want a brighter future, a better world for our children, for future generations. We are custodians of our environment, right? We have come to inherit the rich diversity of life on Earth. We've come to inherit the culmination of thousands of years of civilization, advances in technology, advancement in knowledge. Let us not be the ones that squander this away. And let us remember that we have a legacy to hand out to the future generations. And climate change is one of these things that we've come to understand more and more each day. There is greater scientific consensus about this topic than any time in the past. And armed with this knowledge, I think we can do something about it. It is not about assuaging our guilt. It isn't about the need to advance knowledge per se. I think it's important to think about what is the destiny that we want to make for the future of our species, the future of humanity.